1968?
2005, 38 years.
38 years. So, you retired then? And is that
I retired, and then the mayor of Melrose Park, at the time it was Suppi, I think he's still the mayor there. I went for an interview, and I brought some of my stuff, and he talked to me for probably an hour and a half. And maybe, yeah, at least an hour and a half, and he said, "We've got our new chief of police. I don't have to go through all these other lists here." And they hired me in Melrose. And I was there as a chief, and then I became a consultant to the chief that was in there. And I mean, my stats as a chief of police in Melrose were outstanding because of I don't know if we even had one homicide. We didn't have any serious stuff going on. I tried my best to implement my ability for officers to do the foot patrol. What I did is I told them, have to get out on the street and talk to the people. It's part of the job, and they did. I'm hoping they still use a lot of the things. And I set up a lot of programs for neighborhood safety. I set up the program for Christmas season protection of a person going shopping. I had burglaries, anything I thought was important to keep the neighborhood safe, because my statement always was, I'm getting my officers home safely every night, and I'm getting the citizens, as many as I can, home safe. And I don't know if on one occasion, in all the time I was there, that even one copper got beat up or got robbed or got screwed up on the job or got shot. I don't think so.
Some of my fellow scholars have written about Chicago Italian Americans in organized crime outfits in Chicago Heights or Melrose Park, North Side, West Side, and I don't know what others. Did you run into them?
You know what? I was a cop for 38 years. Never, ever once did I have anyone approach me to do something that ethically was wrong or to try to force me to do something. Maybe they knew I would never do it, but they didn't do it. Melrose, they didn't do it. Chicago, they didn't do it, because I always established myself. I am not going to get in the middle of that. I'm from honorable people, and I'm going to stay that way. But guys, well, didn't people? I says, no, not me. And I was in the one that everybody labeled Melrose Park, all the suburbs. I says, really, it was a pleasure working there. The people were phenomenal. I used to go to every one of the senior citizen get-togethers every single month, and nothing but praise for what I was doing there. The one lady stood up and said, "Chief Giaconetti, since you've been here, it was one of the only times we ever saw the policeman getting out of the car and talking to us, and walking down the alley, we saw two policemen one night." I says, good, it's working, what I told them, And I says, well, Chief, we need some burglary arrests to detect you. And I says, you want burglars? Where are you going to look? You got to go in the nighttime and look up and down the alleys. They'll be breaking in the garages. They're not going to come to the car and say we just broke in. I said, it's easy. It was easy. I said, and not only that, when you stop someone in a neighborhood that doesn't look like they belong there, and you run their name, many, many times it's a person who's wanted. So don't depend on these cameras that they put up, because the cameras, I think, to me, are a waste. They might catch someone after they did something, but the traffic cameras, they're strictly used for money, and people, they don't want to hear that, but I know it's the truth because I was there when we had them. I said, when was the last time you saw a camera on a pole chase a guy down the alley? Well, never, but they're not for that. I said, you want to know something? When that camera films somebody afterward, that means somebody got hurt, and you're trying to find them. We want prevention in this town. We want the coppers to prevent this from happening. the speed cameras, because before, when I was working on the streets in the city, you know what made the most gun pinches? Remember the old white hats, the traffic guys?
Mm-hmm.
I said, why would they get rid of the traffic policemen? They don't need them now. They got the camera that's writing all the people ticket. Poor old guy going through that. Maybe he doesn't stop completely. They give him a $125 ticket. That's not what they're supposed to be for. These cameras.
So with the live officers there, they look in the back.
You get the guns, you get the weapons, then you run in and you get a guy for a warrant. The camera only takes a picture of the license plate. Doesn't do anything. How you gonna get a gun? That's why you're saying, oh geez, our stats are so bad. Stats are bad because Chicago coppers don't stop too many people anymore. And a lot of departments, they don't stop. They depend, oh, you know, you're on North Avenue, you're on blah, blah, the camera will take care of that. It's not true. Makes the pinches and makes the day and gets the guns off the street as a copper making a stop. And you say to yourself, don't they know that? Maybe they do, but they like the revenue.
Okay. So is being an Italian an important part of your life today? Are you a member of organizations, or do you have some customs and practices that are strictly Italian?
Well, yeah, I was the police officer here in the Italian American Police Association. I was a member. I was a board member there for a long time. I was the head of the Lambertry Carter Harrison. I was the president there for a while. But a lot of this stuff, as you get older, it gets a little bit more. It's harder to make these meetings. First of all, sometimes you have medical things that stop you. Sometimes you have commitments that stop you. And the fact that now I'm retired, my wife's retired. I don't like the idea of every other night me going somewhere else. So there's a lot of reasons. But I have been involved in a lot of organizations. And you see some here, I was involved with the Salvation Army. I was the one that started their program to give medical attention to some of the people in the one on Clybourne. So I've done a little bit of muscular dystrophy. I was a big shot with the muscular dystrophy. Earned money for them. Did a lot of different organizations, but the last two that I was in was the Italian American Police Association, and it's a great organization, and they keep wanting me to come back and be involved.
It goes beyond the city of Chicago, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
you could be Italian American Police Association. You could be in any one of the suburbs. It's a good. They have their dinner dance every year, and it's a good clean operation. The guy running it now, Tony Langone, who's involved in that, he tries his best to. He probably calls me once or twice a year and says, Bill, you got please come back. We could use your expertise. I says, I know. It's my fault. Getting a little lazy, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Trips to Italy and to find your roots. Did you go back? When did you go back to Italy?
I went back to Italy in 2001. 2000 or 2001. I went back to visit where my mother and father were born.
So you're about 60 years old.
I wanted to visit, and I went back to their little village. And every one of them, it's a church in just a little town, and it was quite interesting. I made contact with some of my relatives there, and they always make you visit the cemetery. And in the cemetery are a lot of my relatives dating back to the 1700s.
Mm-hmm. And you ready? Did some Italian language come back to you?
Oh yeah. When I'm there, it comes back fast, but you have to remember, and I probably should have kept up with it, but when I was 14, I told you when I got angry, my mother, I says, why did they take my mother, my favorite person? I stopped talking Italian, because first of all, we had a special bond, and we talked in Italian and in English. I went to school as a young boy, and I went into the classroom, and I said to my mom, I says, I got stumped today. She said, what do you mean, Bill? I says, well, the lady held up, the teacher, and she was Italian, she was Italian, but she was Italian, but her husband was Irish. The teacher held up a picture of a colander, and she's asking, and she calls on me, and I see him, I says, yeah, she says, what is this? I said, it's a school of pasta. You know, the pasta stays and the water goes. She started laughing and laughing. And she said to the other kids, don't really laugh at him. He had the right answer, but he didn't have the English name. She says, William, this is a colander. I never knew it was even a colander. I says, I never knew what a colander. And it's just stuff in your. I was fortunate the teacher was Italian, so she knew. She started laughing, and she says, "Don't laugh too much." He had the right answer. But you can't. And the other thing you asked me about
about your trip to Italy.
The trip to Italy, right? Trip to Italy. I walked the same path that my mother and father walked, where my brother walked, and where they picked the tomatoes. And the guy showed me right where they lived. They lived right in there. And we go down in this little valley where I guess they were growing the tomatoes and doing whatever stuff they did. It wasn't that anymore, but at the time it was. And that little teeny village in southern Italy. That's
Calabria.
Yeah, Calabria.
And where else did you go? What other impact did that Italian trip have?
No, I didn't.
Did you bring the kids or?
No, I went with some friends of mine, and we went to my village because I wanted to find my roots a little bit. They went to their town where their family still lived there, and it was interesting. It was a very interesting trip. I would have rather gone to Amalfi Coast with my wife, but it's a little pricey.
So
Amalfi Coast.
So did you go to Rome and Florence and Venice?
Yeah, well, we went through there briefly. Mm-hmm. You know, we went on the Strada, the highway, yeah. And a couple of buddies of mine we rented a big van, and they says, let's stop and get something to eat. I says, I don't know if I want fast food. They says, wait, you got to see this. It's not fast food. So they pulled the thing off the highway. I says, they're making homemade, the best Italian food I ever saw on the Autostrada. Yeah. I says, guys, making the bread and the pizza. I'm like, this is like being in heaven there on the Autostrada. Everybody, but the other thing is, Dominic, they drive like maniacs. Oh my God, the worst drivers on the Autostrada, right on our tail. I'm like, holy crap.
Okay. Well, you're not supposed to stay in the left lane.
That, right. They might be mad. You better get to the right. My buddy learned that fast. You're going 80 miles an hour. He says, oh, whoa. But, yeah, and then here I brought you some little articles. The Lambert Tree and Carter Harris is a very prestigious award that they give here. And you see I've got the pictures there of the bullet holes in my jacket. But I was in other shootouts in the neighborhood there. Guy walked in, was sticking up Burger King, and he didn't. I was sitting in the back. Having tea or a cup of tea in the morning, and all I did was I had my jacket off, so I had a sweater on, so you couldn't even tell I was a policeman. I hear the Spanish kids in the front in Spanish because I could understand a lot of it from Italian, and they're saying they're robbing me. The guy's got a gun. They're robbing me. The guy. So I get up. He runs out the other door. He runs right past me. He turns at the alley and points at me. And I don't know fire if he got off a shot or not. But I didn't care. All I was concentrating on, he was pointing his gun at me. So I unloaded. I think I only shot one time in that direction. About a block away, we hear a call from my ex-partner who's dead now. He says, I got a guy laying in the gangway that says a policeman shot him coming out of Burger King. So we ended up getting him. He went in jail. He went to jail for a long time. He was a stick-up guy, and just minding my own business there. But I kept an eye on the neighborhood. I tried my best. And there were other things in Wicker Park in Bucktown where I was involved in many rescues and many things, fires and stuff, things I wasn't supposed to actually be in there, but I was glad I'm on the one side street and the fire breaks out. And go over there, guy got blown out on the second floor, and he's in the street, and he's still alive at the time, but I don't, ambulances are coming now, but no fire departments there yet. And the two guys say to me, "There's a lady in that building next door." I says, "What?" It was right like this. Try my best. I go in there, I go on the front door, and I'm overcome by smoke. I'm gonna try, and I hear a voice, and it's a young Spanish guy. "Officer, I'm over here. Help me carry this lady out." So we go out to carry an older woman out. I bring her to the front of the street. I got her over my back, and I bring her out there, and she's breathing. She's okay in Spanish. I says, "Well, thank you." I says, "Nice that we were able to get her out." I set her down, and she's standing there, and the lady, next door neighbor, comes over, and I says, "Oh my God!" I says, "I must have really hurt her. Look at her back, and she's all bent over." "Oh, officer, don't worry about it. She's always been like that." And I thought I heard it. She'd have been dead. She only had 1 or 2 more minutes left because I had to get out of there. Yeah. And both buildings, unbelievable. The kid got blown out of the window. I was talking to him on the street. He didn't live though.
Do you have clippings, newspaper clippings of all these?
Some of that one, there's an article about that where it's in there, but it's documented. I